Welcome to Pod Junction Podcast, a show that helps podcasters who are using their podcast to grow their business. I'm Sada Fainin, and with me is Matt Edmondson.
Good afternoon.
It is a good afternoon.
He sounds surprised. Oh yeah, it is. No, it is the afternoon. You are correct, and it is good, and the weather is sunny, and all is right with the world. Yes. Very warm welcome to you, and good afternoon or good morning, depending on when you're listening to this. Good evening. I just generally don't know, but I hope you're having as good a day as I'm having right now, because that would be a wonderful thing for you and for me. Are you having as good a day as I am?
I sure am. It's been a very chilled out day.
Yeah. Super chilled out. Why is that?
Because it is Sunday.
It is. We don't normally record on a Sunday, but we just find ourselves in the studio on a Sunday afternoon trying to catch up with ourselves a little bit.
Yeah. So, it's nice. It's a nice way to do it.
So have you got that Sunday chilled out feeling?
I do.
Excellent. Did you have the Sunday afternoon nap?
I have not, because I was afraid I might not make it to the studio.
Do you normally do the Sunday afternoon nap?
Yeah.
It
just happens. It's not planned. It just happens.
You just sit down on the couch and that's it. You're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the same way, to be fair. I like watching the Formula One.
Okay.
Let me just readjust my chair slightly. Sorry. I like watching the Formula One, and normally what happens is I'll put the Formula One on and I'll watch the start, have a little nap, and then watch the end.
Perfect.
And that's a beautiful way to spend a Sunday afternoon. But this afternoon, actually, the Grand Prix was quite interesting all the way through, so I didn't get to nap.
All right. You got it pretty well planned out.
It's funny because my kids have now got to the stage where if they say to you, Dad, what are you going to do? Watch the Grand Prix, they're like, oh, okay. I know exactly what it means. It means Dad's going to conk out on the couch, probably start snoring. And yes, we have to think of alternate plans for the children. But no, it's good. It's good. So apart from not having my nap this afternoon, I've enjoyed the sunny weather.
Yeah.
It's been nice. Been chilled out. Been chilled out Sunday. Had an ice cream.
I haven't done that yet.
Have you not?
No.
Dude.
I'm going to grab one on the way out.
Yeah, life is always better when you have an ice cream.
Yeah.
Downstairs, what you won't know, ladies and gentlemen, is downstairs we have a freezer, which Michelle has stocked with more ice cream than I care to count. It's ridiculous how many ice creams are in that freezer.
Yes,
have you seen it?
I have seen it, yeah.
It's like they had an offer on, buy one box, get 20 free or something. And she went, okay.
She went for it.
Yeah. Which I don't mind because, it's summer. So thank you, Michelle. Anyway, enough of this talk about ice cream. What's going on today?
All right. So today we are continuing with our series with Peter Murphy-Lewis, who is the host of LTC Heroes. And in this particular segment, we're going to learn how multi-platform approach can help maximize your reach and your impact, and how LinkedIn can increase engagement, and how SEO and backlinks can improve site rankings and credibility.
It's not a lot then.
No, not a whole lot. No, it's full of great value from Peter, so we should watch it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm intrigued to hear what you say about LinkedIn.
Yeah. Because
that's the end topic at the moment, is LinkedIn. I don't know if you've noticed this.
I have not.
Have you not? Everyone's talking about LinkedIn. Everyone's doing LinkedIn way better at the moment, which seems to be quite interesting. So I'm curious to see what he's got to say. So are we just going to drive straight into the clip? Okay. All right. Here's a clip. Let's do it. We'll be back after this.
So, Peter, you've integrated your podcast with television and social media platforms. What inspired this multi-platform approach, and how has it benefited your business?
The inspiration came from the challenge that I previously mentioned, and I'll go a little bit more into depth of that challenge, which is the private equity. So we took the private equity company that hired me and the previous CEO to turn around a troubled company with a lot of churn. We had to rebrand it quickly. We had to do it during COVID, and then we had to, build up the pipeline, build up the brand for when we would exit this asset. And the challenge with that is we didn't have a lot of resources. We didn't have a lot of seasoned marketers who specifically came from that field. So we had to growth hack. We had to fail quickly, but we had to make sure that any failures that we didn't affect our brand. So we could fail at tactics, We could fail at strategies. We couldn't fail at anything related to our reputation. So in order to growth hack it, I knew that I couldn't have a podcast that only 20 people would listen to or only 200 people would listen to. And I couldn't have a YouTube channel that I would only have, 15 subscribers. So everything that we did on the podcast, we had to think about how we could repurpose it across different channels. And I think the 4-ish ways that we did that was newsletter, backlink strategy, YouTube, and then LinkedIn. And I think LinkedIn's probably the most important. Then I'll just briefly mention SEO because I don't think that most podcasters are thinking about it. But LinkedIn was important for us because our prospects were on LinkedIn. It's important for us because LinkedIn was easy for us to find everybody else's second connections. So to set off what that means for us is with LinkedIn, if you were a client of ours for the last 2 or 3 years, more than likely your connections would be potential great prospects for us. Okay. So I could have you on the podcast, then I could scrape all of your second connections, become not necessarily friends, because it's not friends on LinkedIn, but come connections with all of them. And then when I start to push out your content, they're going to recognize who you are and they're going to trust me and my reputation. As long as my conversation with you is authentic, it doesn't come off as salesy. And the other thing that is helpful on LinkedIn, and I find that a lot of podcasters don't take advantage of this, with LinkedIn, you need to apply for the creator status. And creator status allows for you to create newsletters. It allows for you to do live streams. And once you start doing that, you can take advantage of the LinkedIn algorithm, which is as soon as you become a connection with someone, your content, your RSS feed is going to be pushed to that new connection. So whatever you're pushed out yesterday, when you and I become a connection today, you're going to see whatever I pushed out. That's the first thing of the algorithm. The second thing of the algorithm is if I am doing live streams like our podcast right now, if we were pushing this out in real time to LinkedIn, it's going to send a notification to all of my connections that Peter is going live right now. And what's good about that is the email is saturated. Post-COVID era, there's emails have been saturated with people spamming and cold emailing and too many newsletters and so forth. So we need to get outside of email, and I think that's what LinkedIn allows us to do. From an SEO point of view, and I'll make this as quick as possible, is for every single guest that we have on our podcast that has a ranked domain of something higher than 50, we finish the podcast and then I say, hey, would you like for me to write up a great blog for your website that your PR person will have complete editorial permissions to make adjustments for you to post on your website? And then of course the guest says yes, right? They already trust me. They know that I'm a communicator. They've seen my website. They know it's professional. Well, I write it up. They just send it to the PR person. The PR person publishes it. And now we get a backlink, a do follow backlink that's going to improve the rank on our website as well.
Wow, that is so interesting. Can I ask you a bit more about the creator status? How do you have to have a company profile for that or page for that? How does that work?
I haven't done it in quite a while, but I did give some advice to someone yesterday on it. So I'll tell you what it was when I applied 3-ish years ago. I knew 2 people who had applied as a creator status, and both of them got rejected. So I did a little bit of research on it, and then I realized that LinkedIn wants you to be creating native videos and content on their profile, on their platform, not sharing YouTube links, not sharing Twitter links, not sharing your blog links. So I just downloaded clips of my podcast video, edited them, and then uploaded them to LinkedIn. I made newsletters. I made posts on LinkedIn that weren't links to another platform, and then I applied for creator status and I got accepted. Now, as I mentioned, I had 2 people who were bigger creators than I, and they both got rejected. But I think that they were probably just repurposing content from other profiles. So the person that I gave advice to yesterday, as I said, over the next 7 days, upload 3 clips directly to LinkedIn, share those. Do 2 or 3 different posts, and then comment on a couple of the people's newsletters. And then I think that they'll get approved. And I think that's pretty much a slam dunk. But the good thing about the creative status is then it allows you to create newsletter, and it allows you to suggest people to subscribe to your newsletter. It allows you to tag people in your newsletter. And then obviously the algorithm, as I mentioned, once you go live with something, it pushes it out to your entire audience.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Just going back to what you were saying about repurposing content, you were saying newsletter, backlinks, YouTube and LinkedIn. But about YouTube, do you put out the whole recording on YouTube? Is that how you do it? Or do you slice it and dice it into smaller segments?
We were doing our content at the beginning off of Zoom, and then we were doing a lot of post-production editing. As we got further along, we did everything on StreamYard and kind of set it up almost like an ESPN series. And I had tickers and I had boxes and would move people around, and I would move things in and out. And then I would just hit go live, and it would send that recording directly to LinkedIn and YouTube as if we're live. And because I had done a little bit of the legwork while I was doing the interview, it was professional enough that it was ready to go straight. So I'd put up the entire episode, and then from there, what we do is we do clips into reels, right? But that's something we worry about afterwards. We try to pay attention to what got the most views and so forth.
If that got you curious and you want to catch the full episode, be sure to subscribe to the show. We've got plenty more great conversations coming up.
Welcome back. Well, I was getting into that, as always, actually, with our guests. We have a great guest on the show, and I was getting drawn into that whole conversation around LinkedIn there. You seemed quite engrossed by it.
Yeah, I was finding it really interesting because I wanted to see. Well, I didn't understand the whole this whole creator status thing and how to go about that.
Have you got that now?
I have, yeah. I think it's changed since he did it 3 years ago. But yeah, I was able to set. So what happened was it was a personal profile that you have to set up as with your creator status, and then the newsletters go out from there to your connections, and as he was explaining,
No, fair play. Yeah, I've had creator status for years. Well, I don't know how long. I mean, it's been a while since I applied for it, and I've never actually managed to successfully live stream to LinkedIn, even though I've had it. But I've not tried to force the issue. I've not tried to sort of fix it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think I probably should. It's interesting about this whole debate around live streaming. Right. So do you live stream the recording of the podcast or do you not? Is an interesting one because we've definitely done both.
Yeah.
And we found, I think, in the past with live streaming, the biggest problem we had was if you scheduled the live stream, right? Because what would happen, as would be the one, is a guest would cancel like last minute for whatever reason. Most of the time it was genuine. You know, I can't really think of anyone that was just being a plonker. Do you know what I mean? But so most of this is a genuine excuse. But if you've got all this stuff scheduled and it's gone out on LinkedIn, it's gone out on YouTube, it's gone out to your newsletter list, then all of a sudden it's not actually happening.
Yeah.
It's a real big problem. So I think in the past when we've done lives, I think if I was going to do live streaming podcast recordings again, which I'm not averse to doing, I would do them spontaneously live, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Rather than Tuesday, 10 o'clock, I'm talking to Peter, because, you know, you just don't know what's going to happen Tuesday at 10 o'clock. So
yeah. And sometimes you yourself can't show up for whatever reason.
Yeah. It's probably just me more, to be fair. Probably the biggest person to blame, without a doubt. So, but yeah, it was interesting. Again, going back to the whole LinkedIn conversation about how LinkedIn's becoming more and more important, especially for podcasters. It's becoming almost like the platform of choice for podcasters at the moment, which I find quite fascinating.
I didn't realize that. So tell us more.
Well, just in that every podcaster I talk to, if you ask them where does most of their organic traffic come from, they'll say it comes from LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've been thinking about social media, like because we do Instagram, don't we, for Pod Junction, whether that's actually just entertainment or whether it actually does anything as far as traffic to the website or to anything. And I was having a conversation with someone last week, and they were saying, and I think this is quite helpful actually, that if your account is comedy, if it has like comedy value, or you've got celebrities in it, it's usually just for entertainment. Like, you know, it's just those two things. Otherwise, people don't really go check you out.
So does that mean you want to stop doing Instagram?
No, I think we'll still do it. But it's interesting what you're saying about LinkedIn, that's where a lot of podcasters are focusing their energy. So I think I'd be keen to look into that.
Yeah, Peter's strategy here of leveraging the second level connection I thought was quite clever, because I've not heard people talk about that before. So this is where let's say we do a podcast together. You're in it and I'm in it. And so you're a client of mine or a potential client of mine. I go to your LinkedIn. I'm going to tag you in all the posts, but what I'm going to do beforehand is go and see all the people that you're connected with that I'm not already connected with. I'm going to connect with each and every single one of them if I can. And then when the podcast comes out, I'm going to promote that podcast to them by saying, hey, just so you know, did this great podcast with Sadaf, who you're connected with, about, you know, why ice creams on a Sunday afternoon are an absolute must. And thought you'd enjoy it. Here's a link. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's quite a clever strategy that we've not employed with our guests. And I think it's a really interesting way of, one, building your LinkedIn, and two, promoting your content.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So I thought that was a really clever strategy. So I liked his growth hacking. You know, he couldn't fail. Well, he wanted to fail quick, but he needed it to work. He couldn't just take 20 subscribers to his podcast and think that would be enough.
Yeah.
He wanted to growth hack it, which I thought was great. And so that strategy of the second level connections on LinkedIn, I thought was really good.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite clever.
I also liked what he said, that he could fail at his tactics, but not with his reputation.
Yeah.
So, you know, just keeping that in mind.
That was a mic drop moment.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah.
That was a mic drop moment. Very good sort of guiding principle type thing. But yeah, I thought that whole LinkedIn strategy, it feels quite doable.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd be good maybe to go back to Peter and ask him if he has any automation in this process, you know, on the whole LinkedIn thing, whether he's automatically scraping connections and trying to connect with them, or whether he's intentionally looking at the list and going, no, I'm being a bit more strategic. I don't know.
Yeah. I think looking into it myself so far, I find like and we've had conversations about this, but if you are posting your newsletter just on LinkedIn, those connections and that content is always going to belong to LinkedIn. Yeah. So if for whatever reason you get blocked, you lose all of that. Yeah. So I think it's always better to have the email address for in your own database, but this is not a bad idea.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really interesting one just to grow your connection and influence on LinkedIn. But I think you're right. I think you want to grow your own email list, don't you? You want to get more people on your email list if you can, because then, you know, has email been done? I don't think it has. What is interesting at the moment, have I mentioned this before about the WhatsApp groups? I think I did with John Roman when he was on, because I'm in one of his WhatsApp groups. Yeah. There seems to be a lot of these WhatsApp groups that if you can get in them are quite useful, where you post your LinkedIn content and then people from that group will go and like and comment on it. Sort of like-minded individuals, which then helps you get a bigger, wider reach on LinkedIn. And that seems to be quite an interesting thing to do. Just going, you know, I don't know how many people are in John's group now, maybe 30, 40, which is enough. Because I could spend half my day just liking and commenting, you know. But I think as another way to sort of get seen on LinkedIn, I think that's an interesting way. because then you've got people's WhatsApp numbers. And I think WhatsApp as a form of communication is becoming more and more popular.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I found myself WhatsApping people a lot more these days.
Yeah, for sure.
From a business point of view, which intrigues me. I find myself in more WhatsApp groups. I find myself just, instead of sending an email, I'll send a WhatsApp message, which is, I didn't see that one coming. I'm not going to lie. I don't know why. Just never did. But it seems to be becoming more and more of a thing. So,
no, I agree.
Yeah, getting either an email or a WhatsApp number, I think is great. And actually, I guess one of the things, thinking about this, we've not done, we could create a WhatsApp group for guests.
Yeah.
So when a guest comes on the show, we could put them in the sort of EP guests group, and we can let them know when a new episode is out in the group. And also, just in case, you've got a slot to fill. People that have been on the show, hey guys, listen, we could really do with ...
That's a good point.
And creating like a community that'd be a good thing to do maybe with Push.
Yeah.
Thinking it through. And also maybe this podcast, just a WhatsApp group of podcasters just sharing content, tips and ideas.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
And just sharing, what their latest podcast. That might not be a bad idea. We could reach out to all the guests, do a little group, say, hey, just put your latest podcast episodes on here when, share your LinkedIn stuff, and we'll all go and comment and like on it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I like it. Thanks, Matt.
Well, I feel like my work here is done for the day, ladies and gentlemen. We maybe should do that and then feedback on how well it went.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I think things like that, WhatsApp group, LinkedIn, to increase engagement, just being a bit more clever, being a bit more smart.
Yeah.
I like that. And if you can live stream into LinkedIn, if you can get that working, then I think that could be a really, really good. The other thing that I like, just going through my notes here, is SEO strategy.
Yeah.
Thought that was really good. That, again, something we've not done. I'm always looking for things that we've not done, I suppose. Yeah. And what we have never done is given our guests a blog post for them to post on their website.
Yeah, an SEO-proofed one.
Yeah, which I think is quite cool. We do give guests like the assets for LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And social, so they can post them themselves. But what we've not done is given them an SEO optimized blog post.
Yeah, we've not offered that.
Yeah, I think I like that. Because again, it takes all the hassle out for them. They've just got to read through it and approve it.
Yeah.
But it gives us a load of good backlinks. So, love that strategy. Not going to lie. I thought that was great.
That was good, wasn't it?
Thank you, Peter. I thought that was great. What about you? What did you like?
I think we've talked about most of what was on my list of things.
Taking all the good parts.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? Talk first. Take all the good bits.
Yeah.
And then I say, what did you get out of it?
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know if I've got anything left.
Yeah, something he said towards the end was about the podcast. If it's an authentic conversation, rather than it being salesy, it's easier to get genuine connection, use to get genuine connections.
Yeah.
If it's too salesy, it's a turn off, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess even with Pod Junction, it's not like this, but for you with EP, you could have the potential, but I'm so good at the pre-calls. You have the potential for some salesy conversations, don't you?
Just big up Sadaf's production services there, ladies and she's so good at the pre-calls. No, you're right. I think that's part of the importance of a pre-call. So what you're talking about here is avoiding guests who become too salesy.
Yeah.
And actually, I as the host have to avoid becoming too salesy, right? I guess I have a little bit more latitude, but because I'm the host and everyone expects me to go, this show is sponsored by, or this show is brought to you by Sadaf's Production Services, also known as Pod Junction. And so people expect that, right? But if you get a guest on, if Peter just came on and said, oh yeah, well, you got to do the LinkedIn strategy, but to understand what that is, you need to sign up to my $2,000 course, man, and all that sort of stuff. People are just going to be like, whatever, you lunatic. So. And I'm as a host, you're going to go, I don't know what to ask. Where do I sign up? Well, that's a really short conversation, isn't it? And so, yeah, I think you're talking about avoiding guests who are salesy, always trying to promote themselves. And on the whole, I think we've done quite well to avoid them. So what are your tips for avoiding the salespeople? How do you spot them in the pre-call?
Let them talk. Let them do some talking, just see what comes out.
Just sit back and be quiet.
Yeah.
Or like this.
Yeah. Yeah, just talk, let them talk, ask questions, see where they go with it. But actually, a lot of people, I feel like more and more now, because we've been doing it for quite some time, but more and more people are like, I just want to bring value. I just want to have a great conversation.
People have realized now.
Yeah, I don't really want to be talking about myself all the time.
Yeah.
Which is great. Yeah.
It is. I think people have had a bit more training on it now, and I think they're a bit more aware that actually the way to win in podcasts as a guest is to just deliver insane value.
Yeah.
Because if you deliver great value, people start to connect with you. They do. They really do. And they remember you.
Yeah.
So I think deliver value, and also have my other top tip here to avoid and be a salesy, but is to have a memorable story. So when I go on podcasts as a guest, if you listen to them, you'll go, Matt, you've told the same 4 or 5 stories. I'm going, yeah, but one, I want to be memorable. So if someone hears that story, they go, oh yeah, that's that guy that told that story. But 2, most of the audiences don't. Do you know what I mean? There may be some crossover. There is. I'll be surprised. But I think the art of telling a memorable story, of which I probably have about 4 or 5, which I'm getting better at telling, is super, super important. And so I really like that. Like, I always talk about toilet seat marketing, because that's memorable. Everyone's like, you what? Is that marketing stuff you came up with when you sat in the toilet? It doesn't really matter what do you mean? But people remember that. People remember the popcorn. You know how we put the stuff in popcorn as a packaging material for one of our e-com businesses. So those things, people are like, oh wow, this is a bit different. This is unusual.
Tell me more,
they remember it. And so I think being memorable with unique stories. They're not unique, with memorable stories. So you can take a dull story and make it memorable, can't you? That's what good comedies do. Good comedians do. They take something really dull and boring and make it very, very funny and memorable. And I think if you can do that and do that well, quid's in, as we like to say here in the UK. Just means your money's set, basically. But yeah, no, I thought, Peter, well done. I enjoyed that. I think there's some learnings there. I think we've put some stuff into action already with the creator stuff on LinkedIn. We've got the newsletter thing going a little bit more. In fact, we're just about to change our newsletter. Have I told you this?
No, you haven't.
We're going to move to a different provider for newsletters. I'm intrigued to see what happens when we do. Okay. Again, update coming soon. I have told you that. Don't tell me I haven't told you that. Were you listening?
Possibly. What was it? It is Sunday, so.
Yeah, it is Sunday, and I haven't had my ice cream yet, innit? So no, I thought the LinkedIn stuff was good. I liked it. I like the second connection strategy. I think we'll try that. We'll definitely implement that. And I like the blog post for SEO backlinks. I thought that was a really top tip. And so I would like to say we'll start implementing that, but it's really not me that has to make it happen.
Stay tuned.
Bainon's Production Services, also known as Podjunction, that has to make that happen. Yes. So yeah, but lots of top takeaways. So legend. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Peter.
What's coming up next week?
More of Peter.
Part 3. Part 3. How many parts of Peter have we got?
4.
All 4. I just realised how odd a question that sounds in my head. How many parts of Peter have we got?
Sorry, Peter.
Yeah, sorry, dude. So we've got 4 parts of Peter all coming up. So make sure you stay tuned, obviously, to the podcast, because you're not going to want to miss part 3. It will be as mesmerising as part 2, I have no doubt. So make sure you like and subscribe to the Podjunction podcast, wherever you get your podcasts from, because you're not going to want to miss it. And we don't want you to miss it. We really don't. So do check that out. And if you could, just give us a like, a share, a thumbs up, a wave, a rating, a high five. What else is there? I don't know. But whatever it is, we'd appreciate one of those as well. Just share the love, share it out. It would be much, much appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, check out the Podjunction website if you would like to know more about Bainon's Production Services.
Yes.
where she too can screen your pre-calls and cut out the salespeople. Now, seriously, if you do need help with your podcast, do check out Pod Junction. The team there do some amazing stuff. And you talk to this beautiful lady sitting next to me here. She says, smiling. They can't see that when they listen to the audio podcast.
Yeah, I'm smiling.
But do check that out, podjunction.com. But that's it from me. Anything else from you?
No.
That it?
That is it.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week. That's it from us. Bye for now.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode of Pod Junction, where business meets podcasting. If you've enjoyed the insights from this episode and want to grab the show links, head over to podjunction.com. And while you're there, we'd love for you to sign up to the newsletter too. Whether you listen while on the go or in a quiet moment, thank you for letting us be a part of your day. Remember, every episode is a chance to gain insights and to transform your podcasting journey. So keep tuning in, keep learning, and until next time, happy podcasting.